Parents, what is the worst thing you've ever told your child? My son was 8 when I caught him stealing $20 from my wallet. Not for candy or toys. He was saving it in a mason jar under his bed. When I asked what the money was for, he broke down crying. "Daddy's birthday present," he whispered. "I wanted to buy you something nice." I was a single dad working 2 jobs. His mom had left when he was 3, and I'd been struggling ever since. That $20 was supposed to be for groceries that week, but seeing his little face, knowing he was trying to do something sweet, I couldn't stay mad. I told him we'd figure something else out for food. The next week, I caught him again. This time, it was $15 from my jacket pocket. Same explanation. I sat him down and explained we couldn't keep taking money we needed for bills. He nodded, promised he'd stop, hugged me tight. That night, I followed him to the corner store. He bought a small notebook and spent an hour writing in it under the streetlight. When he saw me, he shoved it in his backpack. I waited until he was asleep and checked the notebook. Page after page of calculations. Dad's rent, $800. Dad's car payment, $200. At the bottom, I need $2,000 to help Dad not be sad anymore. The next morning, I confronted him about the notebook. He broke down completely, sobbing that he heard me crying at night, that maybe if he saved enough, I wouldn't have to work so much. I hugged him and told him it wasn't his job to worry about grown-up problems. But the stealing continued. I'd find him going through coat pockets when I came home from work. Each time I caught him, he'd cry harder. I started hiding my money, but he got creative. He asked teachers if he could stay after school to clean erasers for quarters. He even started selling his Pokemon cards to kids at lunch. That's when I noticed something wrong. He was thinner. I checked his lunch account. Empty for 3 weeks. He'd been giving his lunch money to the jar instead of eating. I called his school immediately. The nurse confirmed he'd been coming to her office during lunch, claiming stomach aches. She'd been giving him crackers, thinking he was just anxious about something. I rushed to pick him up early. On the drive home, he kept apologizing, saying he just wanted to help, that he'd seen the eviction notice on our door last month and knew I was scared. That night, I called my ex-wife for the first time in months, asking if she could help with just $50 for groceries. She laughed and hung up. The next day, she showed up at my work. She waltzed into the auto shop wearing a designer dress, asking to speak privately. She told me she'd been watching our apartment, taking pictures of my son walking to the store alone, keeping track of every time he looked neglected. A judge would be very interested in seeing how my son is forced to take care of his incompetent father, she said, sliding a custody petition across my workbench. That evening, I found my son adding more money to the jar. This time, it was a $50 bill, way more than any kid his age should have. "Where did you get this?" I demanded. He started crying immediately. "The pretty lady gave it to me. She said if I kept helping you with money and let her take pictures, she'd make sure you never had to worry about bills again." My blood went cold. "What pretty lady?" "She looks like me, but older. She said she was my mommy and that she was going to save us both." I grabbed my phone and called her immediately. She answered on the first ring, laughing. "Did you really think I'd let you raise my son in poverty forever?" she said. "Every photo, every dollar he saved, every tear, it's all evidence that you're unfit. The court date is next week." I hung up and looked at my son, who was still clutching the $50 bill, confusion written all over his face. "Daddy, did I do something wrong?" he whispered. 3 months later, I found out the truth. My ex secretly met him after school, saying I was too poor to care for him. A week later, she served custody papers. That's when I had to tell my son, sometimes the ones meant to love you most hurt you the deepest. He chose to stay with me. She hasn't seen him since.